I'm going to say this one more time because I want to make this clear to people. People like C-Milk and Serpenza. C-Milk is also known as Laowhy86. Laowhy means foreigner. These people serve a good kind of voice, okay? I'm not saying they should shut the fuck up. They can say whatever they want. They serve a good voice. They are a different angle to the Chinese culture. They are a bunch of Westerners, kind of assimilated, but not really. Honestly, they're not assimilated. But I think C-Milk, aka Laowhy86, tried a little harder. They're a different voice. They're kind of a halfway voice. So he's a good halfway. C-Milk is a good halfway. So I just want to make that clear. He's cool. Now, let's look at one of his videos because it got me to think about a lot of stuff. It got me to examine a lot of stuff because he's wrong about a lot of stuff. He's right about some stuff too. So let us watch and let us critique. So he starts off talking about Shanghai, aka Shanghai, as Whitey say.
I might call it Shanghai. Shanghai, foreign concession, a lot of foreign influence.
Back in the day,
Definitely
not now.
Classier of the Chinese provinces. It's a massive city-state almost, but it's actually classified as its own province in China.
Wait. How does a city-state, aka a municipality, how does that become a province? A province is an area that has a lot of cities. Shanghai is a city directly administered by the central government. So there's no extra layer of a provincial government. It's people up there directly managing Shanghai. It's been like that for a long time. That's a municipality. That is not a province. What are you talking about? Okay, maybe C-Milk or Laowhy86 is trying to dumb it down, but you can't dumb it down and give misinformation. Shanghai is not a province. Shanghai, Tianjin, Beijing, Chongqing. These are 4 directly administered by the central government cities. So he talks about some other things. I don't have any gripes with it. Watch what he says about Tianjin. Tianjin, another city-state in China.
Tianjin. Tianjin is a massive city-state, just like Shanghai and Beijing. But holy God, is it boring. It's literally one of the most boring places in China.
This is what I'm talking about. Again, he serves an interesting voice. Maybe Westerners who go to China might find Tianjin boring, but I doubt it. If you say Tianjin is boring, it's like if you went to Philadelphia in America and you said, oh my God, Philadelphia is so boring. I lived in Philly for 6 years, so Philly has so much culture. It's kind of sad that people think of Philadelphia as a pit stop between New York City and Washington, D.C. Only people who don't know American culture would say that Philadelphia is boring or Philadelphia is just a pit stop because much like Philadelphia, Tianjin has a lot of culture and a lot of history. Tianjin, this city goes way back, man. There's so much culture, so much history. But to a guy like him, not very assimilated, he's in Tianjin, he's just like, this just feels like Manhattan. And he has a limited definition of what he considers fun, right? Because he went to China for a purpose, and he's in China for a purpose still, and I don't know if he's returned to America or wherever he's from. Tianjin doesn't fit his mold of what's fun. For a guy like me, I like to go to a city to appreciate the history, to look at the layout of the city, and Tianjin is a great place to go to look at that. This is why he's a voice, but he's not the only voice to tell you about China. Hear from me, people. Do visit Tianjin. It might not be as cool as Shanghai, but it's got its charm. The beauty of Chinese cities is that they all have their charms. There's no real city, with the exception of one that I'm not going to name, that's bad. It's not like in America or some other places where there are some legitimately bad cities. They're depressing. You don't want to go there. But in China, every city kind of has similar things you can look forward to, and then different things depending on the city's history. I'm going to go to Germany and say Munich's boring. There we go. And next up is proof that fake it till you make it isn't going to work. This is so funny. Watch this.
Next, we're going to head over to Shanxi, and that's with 2 A's. I have no idea why there's 2 provinces that sound exactly the same. Shanxi is a coal province. It's literally full of coal and pollution. But by and large, I'm going to give that an E tier. It's just a pretty gross, awful place. No offense to anyone from Shanxi. Next, we're going to go over to Anhui. Anhui is like...
So before we go to my mom's home province, let's talk about this. It's not Shanxi. He was talking about Shanxi. He claims that Shanxi and Shanxi sound the same. Guys, do you hear the difference? Shanxi, Shanxi, Shanxi. Shanxi, potato. There's a big difference between potato and potato. Shanxi is a very historical province. In fact, Xi'an, that place where they found the terracotta army, that's in Shanxi. He's talking about Shanxi and coal and all that. How do you spend 10 years in China and get Shanxi and Shanxi confused? That's like if I got Portland, Oregon and Portland, Maine confused. Like, what? Let's look at what he says about my mom's home province.
The redheaded stepchild of Shanghai.
That's pretty funny.
This province is kind of the biggest contributor of all these like economic migrants into Shanghai.
That is pretty true.
It's got this city called Hefei, which is actually pretty cool. It's like a huge tech hub. But by and large, Anhui is like, I don't know, there's not a whole lot to see there. No offense.
Okay, it just shows you never traveled to Anhui. You know what's in Anhui? One of the most beautiful mountains, Huangshan. You guys heard about Huangshan? They must have motorcycled once through Anhui, so they know about Hefei. A lot of my relatives live in Hefei. Hefei is the capital of Anhui province. And Hefei has a lot of history, but I seem to get a theme that they don't like the historical parts of China, which is fine. Some people don't like history. They want to see nature. They want to see women. I don't know. If I'm going to tell you top destinations in China, I will say Anhui is a place. Anhui has a lot of very old cities, like ancient cities. Anhui also has a lot of nature, including Huangshan. It's famous for all these rock formations that look like objects or people. There's a rock that looks like a peach fell on a plate. It's really cool. He somehow spent 10 years in China, and all he can think of when he thinks of Anhui is, oh yeah, that boring capital of Hefei. What happened to Huangshan? Most people who don't know about Hefei know about Huangshan.
We're going to go to Chongqing. Chongqing sounds actually like a stereotypical Chinese word, doesn't it? It's kind of like when people try to imitate Chinese, like Qingchong. Chongqing, just flip it around.
Okay. Chongqing. Qing. Chong. Does that sound like Ching Chong? So we flip Chongqing around. Qing Chong. Does that sound like Ching Chong? I don't know. Maybe it does. Because he's catering towards a different audience. A lot of his audience probably don't have an interest learning Chinese. So to me, it doesn't sound similar, but maybe to you guys it does. Let me know. Does that sound like Ching Chong? Now let's see what he has to say about Chongqing. Chongqing is the most populous area in China. It's one of the 4 cities, remember, that is directly administered by a central government. It's actually the most populous. It has more people than Shanghai or Beijing or whatever.
Chongqing is in the Sichuan area, so famous for spicy
It used to be
food,
part of
kind
Sichuan too.
Goodness. Huge, massive metropolitan
Beautiful.
population. There's over 30 million people in the region. And it's exciting. There's a lot of good art and music scene, kind of like Beijing. It's growing. It's quite separate from some of the bureaucracy you see. There was a lot of conspiracies and a lot of scandals there, like Bo Xilai and things
I've
like
talked
that.
about that before.
It kind of
Watch
runs
it here.
itself in a way, to a certain extent. Chongqing's pretty cool.
He doesn't like talking about the history of the city, man. This was the capital of China once Nanjing fell to the Japanese. So this city has a lot of cool remnants of China that now exist in Taiwan. So if you want to visit Chongqing, not only is it a big, amazing city, I mean, Bo, to his credit, I don't know how he is as a person, but to his credit, he made Chongqing something else, man. Chongqing's a great city. And then if you don't like to look at modern cities, you can look at a lot of the architecture and the remnants of an era in between communism and monarchical China when Chongqing was briefly the capital of China. It's really cool. Now he's talking about a place he actually knows because he's lived there. So this is Guangdong, also known as Canton. So let's look at how he talks about Canton, Guangdong, Cantonese people, the people that go, oh.
Pretty much I set up everything I did was in Guangdong, and that's traditionally called Canton. That's where you find Cantonese people on the border with Hong Kong. They speak Cantonese. They're very, very different than the rest of China in terms of their priorities. You'll see a lot less nationalism and stuff in Guangdong amongst the locals. They're more like business oriented.
Yeah.
But holy God.
Yeah, that's good point. Most people who've never experienced that, Guangdong people, they're a little bit more tribal. They speak Cantonese to each other. And yes, it's all about business. Like a lot of the rich business people, they know how to make money there. That's the China C-Milk saw. It's really interesting. And you can tell he just knows, or you can tell from how someone talks. He just knows that area. Now we know, if you want to learn about that area of China, like the Canton, Guangdong area of China, watch Laowhy86, watch C-Milk.
Holy Mao, is it hot down there? It's like
It is hot.
Literally more than half the year. It's like unbearably hot for someone like me. I don't know if you like sweltering heat, you like Guangdong, but lots of good infrastructure. I'll give it a B tier.
Lots of good infrastructure.
It's just too hot and a little too unwelcoming. The local Cantonese
Yes,
people are not
that is very true. The local Cantonese, because they're very tribal, they're not even welcoming to other Chinese people. Any Chinese person that doesn't speak Cantonese, you are kind of going to feel a little bit of strangeness there. It's the little bit of kind of like 排外, the Chinese word, aka you're just kind of being a little excluded. So, see, C-Milk knows this area. Give him credit, man. That's great, C-Milk.
Yunnan province. This is an interesting one. This is a very diverse and beautiful province. It's kind of high, like elevation-wise, but it's all the way down south. So you have this super mild weather. It's like super nice all year round.
Yeah.
They call it like the eternal spring place or something like that.
Yep.
We saw some really cool stuff in Yunnan.
They even created a city called Shangri-La
cool stuff in Yunnan.
there in Yunnan.
The rice terraces, the rice fields, the snow-peaked mountains.
Yep.
The food is pretty cool. They actually have their
Very
own version
good
of
food.
cheese, which is cool.
Yeah.
We had a great time in Yunnan. Lots of ethnic minorities
Yep.
and stuff. I'm going to give Yunnan a B tier. It is very hard to get through because the roads are so bad.
I'll tell you a story about that. When I was traveling through Yunnan in 2009, we were going through a road that was covered completely in fog. It was so scary. Our bus was going through the fog. You could not see at all. The road was a winding road up in the mountains, man. You make one wrong turn, you freaking will fly off the cliff. It's crazy. Imagine what they had to go through. So yes, I can tell they had some good times in Yunnan. He's not talking smack as much. Or is he?
Roads I've been on in China.
Let's see.
So although I'm going to give it B tier, but I mean a lot of bad things happened to us there. Our car was, the windows were smashed and all of our camera gear was stolen, which was terrible.
Here's what I'm going to say. Just a good lesson in general. If you're going to travel, don't put your camera gear in your car and leave it unattended. Like even if you lock the door, there's freaking an incentive for them to smash the window. The way he phrased it sounded like they put the camera in the car, but maybe what he meant was they took the camera with them and then still somebody took the stuff. But whenever you go to big tourist hubs like this, and remember, Yunnan's close to the border. It's on the border of like Myanmar and stuff like that. There's a lot of like drug dealing, human trafficking. So you gotta be careful, right? Whenever you go to an area of China that's on the border, you gotta be careful.
Lots of heroin. We saw lots of syringes and heroin problems. It's right in the kind of Golden Triangle area. So
Yep, the Golden Triangle, man. A lot of drugs go through. It's funny that he has to talk about that, man. Most people, if you go to Yunnan, you're not going to encounter that, but they probably went off the beaten path, which is not smart, by the way. Recently in Yunnan, this Chinese couple went off the beaten path and got, like, stabbed and killed in their tent. It's pretty crazy.
Zhejiang province. This is eastern China.
Zhejiang's
It's
a good
alright.
place.
It's kind of like a discount Shanghai. There's a lot of rich,
Really? Oh my goodness, man.
wealthy businessmen there. Used to be a lot of factories and stuff, but they've...
But you know what the capital of Zhejiang is? It's Hangzhou. You know who's from Hangzhou? The president of China currently. Hangzhou's a beautiful city, man. I don't know if he went... I'm sure you went to Hangzhou, man. Hangzhou's a beautiful city. I get it. He probably doesn't like President Xi. A lot of people don't like President Xi, but you can't just mention Zhejiang and not talk about Hangzhou. Everyone's favorite Chinese person, Jack Ma. He started Alibaba. Alibaba is what he say in Hangzhou, in Zhejiang. So even if you don't talk about the history and all the culture in Zhejiang, talk about Hangzhou. He was mentioning about how Hefei had a little bit of a tech hub. You know where the real tech hub is? It's in Hangzhou. Oh, don't mention that. Come on, C-Milk. Now, that's just lazy, man. That's just lazy. Wow. Last but not least, people, let's talk about the place where I grew up in China. C-Milk's gonna talk about Sichuan. Let's talk about Sichuan.
It's a massive province in western China. Also, there's some features about it. They speak Mandarin, but they have this like really weird kind of Southwest Mandarin accent.
Yeah, we do have a very interesting accent. It sounds like we're barbarians. 我们怎样说话的？我们说话说得像土匪。
你好，我叫 Gloria，很高兴认识你。
And they're famous for their food. I think Chengdu, actually, the
Yes, they're famous for their food. Very true. That's what he says about the food.
capital of Sichuan province, is
Chengdu's
one
where
of
I'm
the
from.
only UNESCO-declared world food cities.
Wow.
And the food's epic. It's super good. And honestly, I'm gonna shoot down some of these Sichuan people that keep saying that foreigners can't eat spicy food. Because honestly, the spiciest thing that I've had in Sichuan doesn't even come close to some of the food I've had in other places around the world. Keep in mind, chili's our new world. So There's this theory amongst Chinese people that they've invented spicy food and invented the use of chili, and they think foreigners just can't handle it, and that's just absolutely not the case.
C-Milk brings up a very good point here. Chinese people don't realize, a lot of them don't realize, that spicy foods were not invented in China. They were brought to China, it was either by the Dutch or the Portuguese. They were a New World food, like he said. People in Sichuan and people in Hunan just really adopted the spicy stuff. Sichuan, it's so humid because it's in a basin. So if you don't eat spicy foods, you're not going to sweat. It leads to a lot of health problems. It's that humid. Great on C-Milk for pointing that out. Most Chinese people don't know that. Here's what I'm going to say about he says he can handle Sichuan spice. The reason you think you can handle Sichuan spice is because you go into a restaurant, they see you're a white guy, and they're like, oh, we got to make him feel comfortable. So they tell you, oh yeah, you can handle the spice. They don't give you a spicy stuff because they want you to talk good about them, and they want to also show other people, look, this white guy, this beautiful looking white guy that is probably rich. Oh yeah, he likes our restaurant. Oh my God, more customers, come on. Again, C-Milk, I'm not saying you can't eat spicy food, but I will absolutely 100% stand by the fact that they're not giving you the spiciest food, even if you ask them for the spiciest food. If you went in there compared to your wife separately, you guys asked the spiciest it can be, they're going to put more spicy food in her. 100% stand by that. And also, Sichuan's where the pandas are. Did he mention that, by the way? I think he mentioned that, right? Another thing that I'm going to mention about this, he forgot a province. He's giving you a breakdown of all the provinces. He forgot Hubei. He didn't mention Hubei. Hubei is a very big province. There's a lot of people. Very famous city, Wuhan. How do you forget Hubei? You know what's very, very important in Hubei? The big Three Gorges Dam, that huge thing that's been causing earthquakes in China, but also generating a lot of power and stuff in China. That's in Hubei. Talk about China, you don't talk about Hubei, where the Three Gorges Dam, even if you want it to be controversial, which C-Milk and Serpenza love to do, how do you not know about Hubei and the Three Gorges Dam? Like, what are you doing? How did you talk about all these provinces and glance over Hubei? And as a side note, I know they don't care about history, but Chu, a very important ancient kingdom in China, was in Hubei, in that area. Through this exploration, I hope you can see, he provides a cool view, man. It's not a view that's assimilated. It's not a view that's integrated. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It's fun to read an outsider's perspective. For example, one of the things that American kids read about in their political science / their American history class is what Montesquieu, French philosopher, wrote about America. He came to America right after America won its independence, and he traveled in America, and he wrote about America from an outsider perspective. And he provided brilliant insights into the American world. As I'm saying that, I hope you guys realize I'm not comparing him to Montesquieu, okay? It's good to hear about your own country or some other country from multiple perspectives. I got a perspective. Chinese people have a perspective. Different Chinese people from different regions have a perspective. Americans, South Africans, French people, whatever, they have different perspectives of China. They are just one perspective. Very right about certain things and wrong about a lot of things too. That's the nuance right there. Take everything they say with a grain of salt. Cross-reference it. If you can, go travel yourself. So that's all I have to say, man. To all followers, audience members of C-Milk, aka Laowhy86, and Serpenza, aka Winston Sturzel. Just a little critique, a little response. I welcome everyone on my channel. Go check out all of them and go check out other people. There's many, many other channels that are kind of English speaking that talk about China. And they have different views, different biases, etc. So check them all out and learn. So thank you guys so much. For those of you who wanted me to talk about C-Milk / Laowhy86, here's your video. If you guys want more videos on these two people, I call them the Guaylo, I'll make more videos, but I got other people I want to talk about. All right, guys, more dating show reviews to come, more in-depth talks about life. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.